years on from Jade Goody's untimely death, her legacy lives on. Now on Sky Living HD, we meet the people who she affected and the ones she left behind.
Jade Goody died 2 years ago, but her memory lives on as she changed the lives of those closest to her and people she'd never met, because she allowed us all to watch as she battled for survival. What are you most scared of that's going to happen to you?
Oh, it's obvious, isn't it? I'm most scared that I'm going to die.
6 months later, at the age of just 27, Jade's worst fears were realised. But because of the way she lived and died, she's made a lasting impact and will never be forgotten.
There's never another Bermondsey princess, only Goody.
I don't think I ever meet anyone like Jade. There's no one like Jade.
She changed things. She was the girl that made a difference.
I was obviously watching Jade on telly and it was the shove that I needed.
She probably saved my life as she has saved a lot of other people's.
You should never knock something until you've tried it. So you should never knock me until you meet me. Do you get that?
Her life should be made into a film because it's a larger-than-life story, but it's a true story. You wouldn't have to exaggerate. You know, it might be difficult finding someone to play her.
Jade Carissa Lorraine Goody was born on the 5th of June 1981.
Jade was just one lad, bubbly, mad, chavvy, basically.
Hello, everybody in Big Brother.
The chance to escape her tough childhood came with her appearance on Big Brother in 2002.
As you all know, my name's Jade. I'm 20. I'm from Bermondsey in London. Oh, here we go. There we go. Thanks.
She was TV gold. I filmed with her for a whole day once, and it became a whole show. It was literally a day in the life of Jade Goody.
She became famous for doing what she did best, being Jade. And her reality shows on Sky Living made her a household name. Here's one Jadeism that's never been seen before.
History would be interesting to know. I don't know that. None of that. I just know that Henry VIII had 8 wives. And it's because partly his name gives that away. Henry VIII, 8, huh?
He had 6 wives.
Oh!
She loved the attention and loved the limelight, but was very honest. You know, I've got no talent, I've got no ability, I'm just me.
All right, I'm Jade Goody, and this autumn, Living TV viewers will get an exclusive insight into my world.
Being Jade on camera and being Jade off camera was always the same person. There was no in-between.
Whether you loved her or hated her, you just couldn't get away from her.
I bet J-Lo didn't do her own billboard work.
Little did she know the impact she'd have by the way she lived and died.
Go do my Eddie.
Jade was so real, she was never a forced person.
I ain't been that close to a body like that in a long while, let me tell ya.
She weren't an angel at all times. I ain't gonna lie.
What happens in my bar stays in my bar.
Jade was probably the biggest character that you'll ever meet.
She walked into the room, she captured the room's attention, but, you know, she had her moments that, you know, she was the one you would want to throw out the room.
You either love me or you hate me. There's never sort of, she isn't all right. It's actually, I really like her because of this, or I actually can't stand her. You never get a, oh, she's all right. You always get, yeah, she's lovely, or no, I hate her.
She had this crazy laugh. It was just electric.
But her proudest achievement were her 2 sons, Bobby and Freddie.
Well, Jade changed my life significantly because she come and introduced me to the world of fatherhood quite soon after meeting her.
I just woke up.
Once the boys come along, it was all for them. She knew, let's not waste this here. I need to make sure that they've got a future.
I just give him things to keep him quiet.
Yeah, but you can't, because the reason why he says mummy all the time when I'm telling him off is because
no,
you're
you
soft.
know that's not true.
Because you're soft.
You've been there. When
Well,
I
we'll
say
see.
no,
Today,
he says
if he plays
daddy.
up, we'll see how you
When
act.
I say no, he says daddy,
We'll
daddy.
see about your mothering skills now, yeah? We're supposed to be as a team.
Things weren't destined to work out between Jade and Jeff. They split up before Freddie, their younger son, was born. Shortly after, a new man entered Jade's life.
The first night she met Jack, we were filming with her, and we went to a nightclub. Jack was stood at the bar kind of looking across at her, and she was looking at him, and they ended up snogging on the dance floor. I was like, oh yeah. I could tell she really liked him, even on the first night.
Got a new boyfriend, Jack Tweed. Found out about his age in the paper.
Yeah, I lied about a few things when I first met. I think I said I was 23.
I'm on my home now. I'll see you later, thanks.
And I said, well, it's going to sound horrible, but I said I was adopted as well, because she asked me my second name. And I thought, hang on a minute, if I tell her my second name, I've already lied about my age. So she's going to ask someone about me and then tell them what my age really is. So I went, oh, I haven't got a second name, I'm adopted. I was born on a boat in Italy.
Jack, I'm flying. Yes, stand behind me. Jack, I'm flying. I didn't know his name was Jack.
It had his ups and downs. Obviously, we had a lot of rows because Jade always used to think she was right about things that was not right.
What do I know about dolphins? That they're fishes and they live in the sea. And they're strong and they fight off sharks. Sharks are scared of them or something. What do you know about dolphins, Jack?
They swim in the sea, I don't know.
You don't know. Are dolphins mammals?
Yeah? No.
You don't even know.
You can't say it, you don't know that.
No, I know I don't.
We'd row and then literally make up 2 minutes later.
Look how beautiful smile, Jack. A little smoocher. He's liking that. Hi.
Oops. Oh no.
You have to hold on to your bottom.
So, yeah, we had our little breakups, but we enjoyed the same things. We could always have a laugh together. We just got on so well.
With everything falling into place, it seemed like nothing could go wrong.
I remember her calling me, telling me that she was going to do Celebrity Big Brother, and I remember saying to her, you sure it's a good idea? It just seemed like she was on top of everything. Why go back to it?
It turned out to be a disaster. She was public enemy #1, and everyone was talking about her for all the wrong reasons.
I have not seen the particular programme in question, therefore can't comment on it. But of course, I would agree entirely with the principle that he has outlined, which is that we should oppose racism in all its forms.
Jade hit the lowest point in her career.
I am really, really sorry. I am. I really am. Hello, nice to meet you.
To make amends for her Shilpa outburst, Jade entered the Big Brother house in India. Only days into her stay, she was called to the diary room, and it was there, in front of millions of people watching, in true Jade style, she received the devastating news. She had cancer.
She did live her life in front of the cameras, but even she was shocked that the phone call to tell her she had cancer was on national television.
And then her agent rang me and was like, all right, can you talk? Can you sit down? I've got something to tell you. And I just couldn't believe what I was hearing. I just thought, how can she have cancer? She's 27. It's for old people.
We knew right from the start it was very serious. And she knew from the start it was very serious. Did we know at the time it was fatal? No, we didn't.
This was the first time a celebrity had been so open and honest about cervical cancer. Jade wanted other women to see what she was going through.
Had Jade come to the Royal Marsden 2 months before she did, there is every chance she'd be alive now. There is no time to waste in the diagnosis of cancer. And she paid the price.
I think being naive is a good thing because I think if I knew, maybe I would be scared. I think just having it every day as it comes, I don't know what I want to know. I don't know. No, I don't know. I don't have no idea what's going to happen to me.
His words.
We hear from Jack about their wedding a month before she died.
You're not looking to any future because there isn't a future.
And for the first time, he recounts the night Jade Goody lost her battle with cancer. He was with her at her home.
The doctor sort of said, I think she's going to go tonight, and I just...
After Jade was diagnosed with cervical cancer, she started having treatment in London at the Royal Marsden Hospital. Little did she know the impact these scenes would have on thousands of women who were watching.
This is chemotherapy. And they'll give you some drug before that just makes you really sleepy.
She was told by the doctors there was no hope, and the first person she called was her boyfriend, Jack.
She rang me, and she was all drugged up. I could just make out what she was saying. I've got something to tell you. And I just rushed out my door, jumped on a train and got straight up there, and she just told me, and we just both just broke down and just cuddled each other, and that was it, really.
Dignity is not a word you associate with Jade Goody, but just to see the real dignity that was there, the courage that was there.
And I knew she'd always wanted to get married, and she said it to me. She said, I really want to marry you, Jack. And I said, yeah, well, let's do it then. What are we waiting for?
I am really excited to be Jack's bride tomorrow. Yeah. I'm going to be nervous.
Yeah.
I have to take my spray pump with me.
Oh, God.
I'll be walking
Try
down the aisle.
Should we try
Going to the chapel and we're gonna get married. Going to the chapel and we're married. Hang on. Check my pump and see if I am okay. Oh no, I'm not, so stick it in my pocket, baby.
Jack, you can still say no.
As soon as people knew she was terminal, people wanted to fight for her. It's what we do, isn't it? We all bunch together and fight for something, and that was what happened with Jade.
Everyone was getting excited about Jade's wedding. It was a big event, and Sky Living's highest ever rating show.
I will be
be
utterly devoted to you.
utterly devoted to you.
Through the laughter
Through the laughter
and the tears.
and the tears,
Through the darkness
the darkness
and the light.
and the light.
The wedding, it was the happiest day of my life because I'm marrying Jade, and I've always wanted to do that. But the saddest because you're not looking to any future because there isn't a future.
Jade and Jack and the bridal party, husband and wife.
She wanted that day to be perfect and not let her illness ruin it, and it didn't.
Anyone else, their emotions would just take over, just be up and down, upset.
She was just smiling the whole day, weren't she? She loved every second.
Everyone at the wedding and watching on TV knew Jade only had a few weeks to live.
She didn't show that she was in pain once. She didn't tell anyone. She just looked happy.
And I think the cameras were turned off at just the right time.
She just gave me this look, which basically said, it's over now, turn it off. And I remember saying to the cameraman at the time, that's it now, it's the last shot. It was like all the looks before had always been about us winning, and that look at the end was, it's over now. Oh, I'll never forget that look.
It got worse straight away after that, really. I think that took it all out of her. The wedding, she was just ill, really ill after that. And she's been through so much in her life. She just wanted looking after. She just wanted someone to look after her all the time, and that's what I used to do as much as I could.
Jade left hospital because she wanted to spend her final days at home.
I stayed in a room, slept on the floor next to her, and that night that she went, she was breathing like really heavily and like sort of coughing, breathing, and I just, like, every second, and it was like she was trying to fight for air, and the doctor sort of said, I think she's gonna go tonight, and her eyes were shut and she's fighting for breath. I heard her breathing stop. I just heard the breathing stop, and then that was it. I just knew she'd gone.
It was the final chapter of a life lived before the cameras. This morning at around 8 o'clock, the body of Jade Goody was taken from her home in Essex. A death happened in the early hours.
The coffin is now about to emerge.
I remember her saying to me, "What do you think my funeral will be like?" And I was like, "Jade," and I just didn't want to talk about it. She's like, "I want it to be really dramatic. I want everyone to be there." It's amazing, really, that she actually sat there and planned her own funeral.
Even Jade could not have imagined the effect her illness and death would have on people she'd never met.
It was a horrible day because you're burying your wife, but then again, it was quite nice to see the support. Thousands of people just on the side of the street throwing roses, throwing flowers. And it was just nice to see how many people actually loved Jade and cared for her. She would have been looking down happy on that day.
And while millions of people watched her funeral on TV, her sons were away from the cameras with their dad.
When Jade died, I decided to take the boys to Australia. It wasn't so much of a conscious decision, it was a reaction. I think it was a feeling. I just wanted to get physically as much distance between the circus that was going on, what had just obviously been taken away from the children in their life.
Jade's funeral was overwhelming. So for the boys to go through that, I'm glad in a way. It's sad that obviously they weren't at the mum's funeral, but I think
it was best for him.
Yeah.
This is the last film of the boys that's allowed to be shown. Jeff got a ban on any new photos, but he's okay with the old ones being used.
My children have needed to be in an environment of extreme stability, and that's what I wanted to provide for them. I'd been talking to the Press Complaints Commission, and they said you can have a privacy ban, which means that nobody can publish a photo of the children. You've got our full support, and as long as you don't do any magazine deals, then obviously that should always be in place. And to this day, I've not gone anywhere near infringing it. I've been offered a lot of money. I've been offered 6 figures to put him in front of a camera for a Christmas shoot, and I just turned it down. It's hugely liberating to do that.
The money Jade made out of these kind of magazine shoots has given the boys a secure financial future and the choice to be shielded from the media while they're growing up.
I think it has changed them for the better because for the first time ever, I see them having a normal upbringing. But there is a small part of me that looks at them and think they'll never be normal because they've got her in them. So I don't know what they're going to be when they grow up, but it would not surprise me if they ended up in the public eye.
Are we walking?
I've not only lost Jade, I've lost my whole family because I've lost the 2 boys as well. That's why it's so hard to deal with it, because before I was living with Jade and the boys, and they'd just be like my kids. I'd pick them up from school when Jade couldn't, and I'd cook them dinner. But now it's just me on my own, and It's just horrible.
The boys don't see Jack anymore, sadly. Not a bad lad, but I think I needed people to make clear that they were either in or out. And for a few months after Jade passed, there wasn't really much contact. So I think with everything that's happened since, he's just made it a little bit too obvious that it was probably better to keep him out of the equation.
They're his kids, they're not my kids.
There's a baby.
Even though I was there for the first 4 years of their life. Hopefully one day he might change his mind.
No, this is the different one.
Next, we hear from the women who never met Jade, but whose lives were changed by her story.
It was the first time in my life that I'd actually knew that cervical cancer could actually take somebody's life.
Chemotherapy was probably the worst thing that you have to go through.
Jade wanted us to film her throughout her illness, and we asked her to explain why.
Well, because I'm not the only person in the world that goes through this. There are loads of other people older than me, younger than me, my age, that are going through it, and also I need to pay my bills, and without sounding like I don't know, I'm just doing it for the money, but I'm not just doing it for the money, I'm doing it to highlight things that have never been highlighted before. But it's my job and I need to pay my bills.
On today's show, in her first live television interview since being diagnosed with cervical cancer less than 3 months ago, Jade Goody reveals why she's determined to beat it for the sake of her children. But is that wise?
The decision was controversial, but it achieved her aims: to increase awareness of cervical cancer and to give Bobby and Freddie a secure financial future.
When she first decided to film her illness, she got a lot of flack in the press. I remember people saying it's disgusting, she should keep her private life to herself. She was like, well, if I don't film it, then other girls are going to go through it and they don't know what they're going to go through. And why shouldn't I be the one to show people how awful it is?
The point she got told it was terminal, that's where she stepped it up a gear. And different deals were being put into place, but more long-term deals that were based on royalties, so there would be a constant flow into their future estate for the children.
Right, lay down then, please.
As well as the boy's father, Jeff, Jade turned to 3 of her closest friends to safeguard the children's future.
This is Jade's personality. She didn't ever ask us to be a trustee. She went, Dan, Simon, Kate, you're a trustee, you're doing it. So we went, yeah, fine. And then she described each role that we had to have, and mine was to oversee the estate and manage the finances for the children. The estate is likely to land between 1 and 3 million.
She left enough to see the boys through school, private school education, and something that Jade or I didn't have the benefit of when we was younger. And it's gonna, you know, along with everything else and everybody else's efforts, it's gonna shape them into the young men that they're going to be, and I think they're going to do great things, the pair of them.
They're not the only ones benefiting from Jade's legacy, but she will never know how many other people she's helped.
The Jade Goody effect was quite significant. I mean, it heightened the profile of cervical cancer. The figures that came out the year after Jade died showed that an extra 400,000 women went for cervical screening. So without a doubt, Jade saved lives.
I just feel like I'm a 27-year-old in a 50-year-old's body. I had an operation that took my womb out, and then the back of the womb was infected and other places was infected. Why are you bibbing me?
Jade dying through cervical cancer kind of brought it to the forefront of this is why you go for screening. It was the first time in my life that I'd actually knew that cervical cancer could actually take somebody's life.
When he was very hungry, he would eat a big calf.
But for me, being a mother, it was the boys losing their mum, which really hit home to me. You know, like, if that was happening to me, I'd be leaving my girls behind. I wouldn't watch them grow.
When Jade first got diagnosed, that was the first that I had really known about cervical cancer. I didn't know a lot about it, and I never thought that that would then, a matter of months later, be me.
I should try drawing a car. That's something you are exceptionally good at. I avoided having a smear test for a few years because I had a bad experience before, and I was having reminder letters, and it was a case of I needed to go, and I was obviously watching Jade on telly, and it was the shove that I needed.
How can rainforest animals move from tree to tree?
It was almost a year to the anniversary of Jade's death that I actually went and had a test, a screening.
Oh, I got
Tongue then, not happening.
Yeah, you are. You said out loud.
How old are you? My results was I had CN3, which is the precancerous cells before it turns cancerous. I was going for my first lot of laser treatment at the time of Jade passing.
Soon the people in the city got so cross.
They could see I had an abnormality, but it was very, very in early stages. But they said right from the start, it needs treating, we're going to treat it, and it will be fine.
Getting a phone call from a doctor to say you've got cancer wasn't something that Jade was alone in. Gillian had a similar experience.
Jade, आप कन्फेशन रूम में आ जाएं।
When I was diagnosed, it was just a normal day, and I got the phone call and she told me that I had cervical cancer, and I was like, okay, bye, and I hung up and I just was screaming. I thought, that's it, I'm going to die. Chemotherapy was probably the worst thing that you have to go through. Because you're just like so ill. I seen Jade going through it, and there was one particular clip. It was something like she doesn't want to go today, or you know, she was just like totally exhausted, and you could just tell she was just so tired. And I can relate to that because it was so hard.
I don't want to go through all this again. They don't want to do more tests on me because I'm in pain on this side. I don't want to do this anymore. It shouldn't happen to me, or just someone give me a break. I don't have to be in more pain.
Jade's story was told in our living rooms daily.
Listen, shall I have a new bath?
You turn on the news, and there were pictures of Jade, you know, going to hospital, being treated. You saw what was happening to her. And I suppose the country took Jade to their hearts.
She was a woman of the people. She believed the people should be looked at and cared about. I think we need more Jades in the world. We'd certainly laugh a lot more.
And I've got to have the terrestrium. It's the man's hormone, terrestrium. Oh, I don't know. Well, it's terrestrium. I don't know. What is it? Testosterone. Your testosterone. Test of that.
She turned a dreadful negative into a wonderful positive. It takes a lot to do that. It takes a very special person to do that. To know that you're dying and to concentrate your energies on making sure that other people don't die. Very, very few stars that I've ever worked with would even dream of that.
It's the news of the world. A photo shoot I did the other day. Pictures are actually quite nice. Nice one, I'm laughing. Front page of the news of the world, me with a bald head. Never thought I'd see that as a front pager or any pager. Bobby didn't like my bald head at all. He didn't want to see it or anything. But since it's been in the paper, he's fine with it now. He probably thinks, oh, well, she's in the newspaper with it now, so it's all right. I don't know. There are just people with bald heads, and I've got a bald head.
We'll never know how many hundreds or thousands of lives Jade saved, but her story touched millions of people, not only in the UK, but all over the world.
Jade gave me hope and strength because what I've seen her going through, if she can go through it, then so can I. And she was just so brave, and I just tried to be so brave as well.
She achieved a lot more in a few months than the medical profession and the politicians had in years and years and years in terms of cervical cancer awareness.
Whose hands are cold today?
I'm never cold.
But there is a danger that 2 years on, the Jade effect is wearing off.
We saw 400,000 extra women go for screening the year after she died. It's quite amazing. But the flip of that is the year after, 300,000 didn't. We mustn't let Jade's legacy be in vain.
It's morning.
I am so proud of her just being Jade and being mine. You know, and her boys, you know, I know they've lost their mum, but they will grow up and think, you know what, my mum saved your mum.
She made me open my eyes and face my fears, and I can truly say that I've faced my biggest fear, and every day has been brighter since. And I put hearts for the eyes.
It's a shame that she didn't kind of get to see the people's lives she changed, or even meet a handful of them, you know, because just saving one, you've got to be proud of yourself, but for saving like hundreds, maybe thousands, that's just outstanding, really, isn't it?
I think it's really important to keep Jade's story in the public eye. It reminds women this is a disease that can affect all ages. It was a really real, personal story of a young woman who didn't even reach her 30s, who left 2 boys. And it's such a strong story that hopefully it's a reminder that all women can do something to prevent that happening to themselves.
We had a nice day today. All 3 of you, we had a nice day? Yes. That's what matters.
We see how the people closest to Jade are coping without her 2 years on.
I've met someone that is not just perfect for me, but perfect for my kids as well.
The only thing that winds me up is when people say, you was only with her for the money.
It sounds really silly, but at the time, I just knew that I didn't want to be here no more.
Jack Tweed's 23 years old. He's been through a lot since meeting Jade in 2006.
Thank you.
She was my girlfriend. I've been with her for 4 years, so I'm not just going to get up and run away because she's ill. I'm not a horrible person. I'd never do that. And I don't think I deserve a congratulations for staying by her side, because any decent person would do that. The only thing that winds me up is when people say, you was only with her for the money.
I am yours.
And ever shall it be.
And ever shall it be.
If there's one thing Jack wasn't after, it was money. That's a myth that's out there.
And hopefully, even out there, everybody claps.
What's my makeup?
I can tell you there was more than 1 million opportunities that he could have made money out of when all this happened. You know, he just stood by her.
Jack, you never really know with Jack, do you? He's very private, very, very private. I don't think he copes as well as people think he does. I think people think he's just got on with it and he doesn't care. And I really don't think that's the case, because I know that he did really love her.
Everyone forgets how young he was, and it was his first serious relationship, so we find
And that was a big relationship to take on.
Yeah, it was a massive relationship to take on. And she wore the trousers in that relationship, and he did whatever Jade said. So to lose her...
And he doesn't talk about it. I would imagine that he struggles inside a lot.
Jade's grave is in Essex, near to the home she and Jack shared.
I'm not an expert at dealing with death. I don't know how to do it. It's just what I'm doing. It's just happening. when I come here, it makes me think about old times and what could have been now, and so it's just, I don't know. I think it's really, really important to keep Jade's story going for as long as everyone can and keep her remembered so no other girls go through the same as what she did.
There's another place where Jade's remembered, in Bermondsey. In a garden of remembrance, there's a small memorial to mark where she was born, near where her mum Jackie lives.
Yeah, it's just nice to have her in two places. It's so lovely to know that she is welcomed here.
Jade's mum Jackie still lives in the flat in Bermondsey where Jade grew up.
When Jade was ill, she wouldn't wear her own nighties or pyjamas because it was so much easier to wear the hospital gowns for her medications and all her, like, lines of all that she had to have. So I asked the nurses, which they weren't allowed, OK, if I could have the nightie that she finally passed away in, and they replaced one. And so no one ever knew that I was allowed to have it or took it, so the nurses gave it to me. And the reason why I've got it is because it still smells of Jade. And it smells of Jade as well as Joe Maloney, which she just lived by. And I'd love to sleep with it every night. But I won't because I'm scared of losing her smell.
The past year hasn't been easy for Jackie.
I hit rock bottom. I just knew that I didn't want to be here no more. And then I'd done this evil thing to myself. I decided if I took pills, it wouldn't work because the hospital would be able to pump them out of me again. And if I drank alcohol, I wouldn't die because I'd wake up again. And so I decided to cut myself.
Jackie was rescued by a neighbour and spent a short stay in hospital.
I should have been dead, and that's what I really, really wanted to be. I didn't want no pity off of no one, and I still don't. But I have to stay strong for Jade. And the two boys, God, Bobby and Freddie, they're just the biggest stars she's ever left me.
Jackie is very much in the children's lives. It's very important for me that they have a good relationship with her because she's the last blood link to their mum. My life, especially with my career, wouldn't really work if it wasn't for the special people that we've got around us. I'm very proud to say that, you know, I've met someone that is not just perfect for me, but perfect for my kids as well. So it's a huge part of when you meet someone, they've got to be the right kind of influence. And my girlfriend is amazing with the children.
There's Freddie! Come on in. Bobby and Freddie are doing fine. Jeff's done a really good job. They've settled in their new school that he wanted to send them. So I think she would be proud of them. She would be really proud of them.
Well, Bobby's 7 years old now, 7.5. He's really interested in a lot of sport and he's doing very well at school. He's almost like the model pupil. Very protective of his younger brother, Fred, who's 6. But Freddie's also very sweet, full of energy, full of character, and generally he's just forever making me laugh.
Look out.
No.
Look at the scales.
Well done.
On this fish.
Well done.
On this wish.
It's really important to me that the children understand what it is to give and to help people around that are less fortunate and stuff. And they've already made a start on that, to be fair. They had an abundance of chocolate the other day and Bobby recognised that we should give some of it away. So we went to the hospital and they gave it to the nurses who were obviously quite impressed. I don't think I've ever felt so proud, to be honest. But just sort of walked out of the ward and shook their hands and just obviously congratulated them on on doing such an amazing thing, and if they continue to do things like that, they're going to be amazing people. Gives me like being like a right girl.
Jade's 5 best friends and bridesmaids, Kate, Caroline, Charlene, Kelly and Jen, are committed to keeping her memory alive.
The rest of us girls, Kelly was pregnant at the time, they dedicated a Race for Life for Jade. So we took part in that and raised money. We had to get up and do a bit of a talk to everyone. It's something we'll carry on doing.
We always get together on important dates, such as Jade's birthday. It's her 30th this year, so we're going to have a big celebration. Lots of champagne and remember her.
They're meeting up to plan it and reminisce.
And what about when we had a city night? This is her first night up the city, like a Friday night out. She went and bought a briefcase, and she come walking towards me like this at Liverpool Street. I was like, "What's the briefcase for?" She was like, "For what?" She was like, "Because that's what you all have." I was like, "No, I've got my handbag." She was like, "Oh, nothing in it. Open it."
But everyone knew who she was. So everyone clearly knew she didn't work. Everyone knew she didn't work in the city, but she's got.
My life has changed so much that they're things that I would want her around for. Obviously, she's never going to meet my baby, and that's really hard.
In the 2 years she ain't been here, Kel's had a baby, Frankie. I've had a new addition. I've got another one on the way.
To us, to the new babies, the new one on the way, to our memories, and to Jade, who will never be replaced.
Cheers.
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 No one will ever have a story like Jade Goody's.
I think she liked to be remembered as the person that she was. Loud and brash, larger than life, someone that you're not going to forget about in a hurry.
I'm not being funny, the world's my oyster right now. Hollywood, Bollywood, Paris. I don't know where else they make movies, but it's my oyster. I'm amazing.
She made me realise that, live life and she's given me some of the best days that I think I'll ever have.
Is it the government that's responsible for the credit crunch? Or is it just the world's too expensive?
We're proud to think that she's changed people's lives.
She changed the face of cancer in this country for young people. And I think she's given a lot of courage to young people to fight this battle.
I wanted to keep on fighting so that Jade's story meant something.
No, can you do 2?
I took notice more because I'd watched her die of this. So, in effect, yes, she probably saved my life as she has saved a lot of other people's.
You paint the Mona Lisa?
Vincent van Gogh?
No.
Pistachio?
She changed things. She was the girl that made a difference. And actually, that's all she ever wanted to be.
You're born in Bermondsey, but as much as she left, could never take the Bermondsey out of Jade. There's never another Bermondsey princess, only Goody.
She had the saying, you either love her or hate her, but I don't think anyone actually hated Jade. She just made everyone laugh, and that's all she wanted to do, is make people laugh as much as she could.
The world is dull without Jade around. She made it a bit brighter. And I've got so much more work I want to do and all. I'm going to be a movie star.
And for video and picture tributes to Jade,